everyone. Welcome and thank you for being here. My name is Tina, and in today's video, we're going to tackle the energy of June. I have a lot to unpack, so we're going to jump right into it. So happy June 1st, everyone. Let's take a look at the month ahead and see what June, which is the energy of the number six, being the sixth month. I know, can we believe we're already in June of 2025? The year is almost half over. And so we want to see what is the energy and can we harness that energy. I use the soul contract, which is based on numerology, to help people remember who they are in order to help them become aware of their negative programming so they can come into alignment with their path in and achieving their life's purpose. So the overall themes for this month are creativity, focus, risk taking, and business. The number six is also tied to Taurus energies. So this will give you a much stronger will, kind of that bull in the china shop. So you have to be careful. But it does have this side of practicality to it, which I think is a really great energy as well. So June will be a great month to engage in any creative projects as long as you are letting go of control. So this is about getting into the flow. The energy is supportive in order to flow your boat, not row your boat, which takes effort. It's about opening up to anything artistic that wants to come through you, especially in the visual arts. So, you painters, you designers, you drawers, people, this is about a lot of color, a lot of just creating beauty. I think of jewelry, anything, visual. This is the month that will be particularly generous with visions and ideas. This is the month to create from the mind if it is based in reality. So keep your feet on the ground, and whatever you can dream up, you can create. Because the six is also tied to business, this could be the perfect time to start a new business because the energy is focused, and it's about focus, and it's coupled with the energy that is supportive to planning a course of action. That will help you to become clear on the steps that you need to take and how, and kind of how to make this all happen. So writing down your plan in order to ground it this month will be pivotal in helping you to see it through to its startup phase. Also, in support of the projects, there will be a stronger urge to take risks. So, starting a new business or project becomes less daunting and overwhelming this month because it's so supportive for risk taking. It would also be a great time to do something you have always been afraid of. So get out of your comfort zone, like skydiving, bungee jumping. I personally am planning my first solo trip abroad this year. Traveling alone has always seemed daunting to me, but I'll be putting that plan together this month and getting everything scheduled. That way, it will be less likely that I will subconsciously try to manifest something to get in the way of me fulfilling the stream. So, because that's something, I just want to remind people that we can do is sabotage ourselves. So, this month will also be a great month for communication, especially with people you normally wouldn't jive with. This is because there will be more fluidity in the variations of vibrations, making it easier to align with those around you. So, definitely harness the energy because that will create more harmony around you. And be open to talking to people maybe that you wouldn't normally talk to because you don't really align with them. So it's a great time to bring people together. Now, I know this all sounds wonderful, but not everyone will be able to harness this energy. It always has to do with where you were at on your journey here. And people who have a six in their soul contract, either in karma or goals, may have some things that they need to watch out for this month. So let's get into that because there's always two sides here, our positive and negative. So some old trauma could start bubbling up, creating anger and frustration. Don't be fooled by that guy who cut you off in traffic. It's never about what you think caused your anger and frustration in the moment. The anger and frustration is asking you to recognize it and to figure out where it came from originally. So don't be afraid to sit with it and figure out, trying to figure out and ask some questions about where this might be coming from. Write it down, ask it some questions. You might be surprised at what you find out about yourself. And then some things that you can do to kind of release a lot of this old anger and frustration that may be coming up for you this month is some good old pillow beating while saying no. Saying no can be very, very empowering because a lot of empaths, a lot of light workers have been so shut down so early in their life. So it's very important to be able to say the word no. And if you have a punching bag, that can also be very helpful as well. Anything that really is a little bit aggressive, that can help you to release. So a lot of drummers, that motion and to the beat is very cathartic. So I find a lot of people who have anger, they make the best drummers because it's become cathartic for them. And so even dancing aggressively to rock music, which can be very fun and also can release a lot of stuck energy. So those are just kind of a few ideas to get the energy moving because anger needs movement. It's about asking you that something needs to change. You're stuck in the flow of life and something needs to change to kind of get you back into the flow. That's all it's really about. It's nothing to be ashamed of or to push back down because it will come back up stronger than before if you continue to do that. Also, for the physical body, that's more of the emotional component. So let's get into the physical body, which kidney cleanses are very helpful because the kidneys don't just filter out toxins, they filter energy. And that is what helps you to discern your truth. So if there's a lot of stuck energy there, that can create some cloudiness with you resonating with what is truth for you. So you can simply drink lemon water, tea, which contains herbs like dandelion, burdock, licorice, ginger root, and nettle are really great detoxing herbs. And I find that if you do this, drinking the tea or lemon water during a fast, like a 24 to 36-hour fast, can be very helpful for you in releasing a lot of those stored up toxins in the body. Now, I am not a doctor, so this is not medical advice, but I just wanted to put that out there. That's worked very well for me, as I have had a lot of anger issues from my traumatic childhood that also anger can be projected onto you by very angry parents, very angry authority figures. So it's very important as we're kind of getting inundated with that this year. And that is again about us starting to clear that out of our system. So you can get blocked focus too this month. So, like I said, it depends on the sixes in your chart, and if you're finding you're being very blocked with being able to focus on that one thing you really, that's your heart's desire. And that can also lead to anger and frustration that we had just talked about, coming up to surface. So, but this can be tied to, distractions. What's distracting you? And you have too many irons in the fire. This is about making a list of everything that you're doing and starting to prioritize the ones that mean the most to you. Then you want to go deeper into the list, creating like some manageable steps, like things that are easy to achieve and things you can mark off your list as you complete them to keep you into the flow. This has really worked for me at my last, this latest contract job I'm working at is I was getting way too much chaos thrown at me at one time, and I was having a hard time managing it and completing things. So I had to really go back to some real basic list making and scheduling things on my calendar. I'm going to work on this at this time and this, so that I could actually start to finish some very manageable and achievable pieces. So once I remembered I needed to get back into that to get me back into the flow, then things started to come together, and that took a lot of pressure off of me, and I felt much better about um, about how I was going to manage all of those things, and that's just managing the stress of it too. Um, because risk taking is a part of the energy this month, be careful you don't do anything reckless or impulsive, especially with finances. Because finances are tied to Taurus energy. And because this energy is also tied to business, it's about being practical. So again, nothing impulsive, nothing like an all or nothing, approach. Putting all your eggs in one basket if something seems too good to be true. It is. So don't get tied up uh, in things that seem unreal. So there is a lot of Neptune energy out there. So don't get clouded. Don't let your judgment get clouded. Just stay in that very practical energy, and you will do well this month. Now we're going to talk about addiction. So watch out for addiction patterns. Either the ones that you've already kind of seen of yourself might actually get worse, and old ones might crop back up again to take a run at you, because you're going to be tested with this if this is something karmic for you or a goal in your chart that you're working on. So just trust yourself, trust the process. Don't beat yourself up too much, but don't get drug back into the pattern. Drug, that pun was intended. Starting to journal or reading high vibrational spiritual material this month can be super helpful, as this creative energy and the higher vibrational books will help you to plant the seeds that will birth ideas for you in the future. So again, this is kind of building energy we're going to be in June. It's not about having to complete everything. This is about opening those creative projects, opening them and getting the seeds germinated so that they can start to grow. And so this is all about becoming the most optimal version of you and doing things that bring you joy. June is about bringing the joy back into your life, harmony, joy, peace. So overall, this month is about being the creative vessel for source. So set your boat to go with the current and you will be just fine. Now, I do want to pull just a few cards from source, as we're in the energy of June now, and I wanted to do a spirit animal. We want to look at an ascended master that can help you, what the elements are having to say, some what activations you can watch out for, and then we're going to finish up with a quick mantra. So here is the spirit of the animal. We're going to pull the spirit of the animal. So angels and guides. Aha, I have been seeing a lot of this. Owl energy right here. Beautiful, beautiful. You see clearly now. And I do feel that there's, like I said, focusing, there's going to become more clarity because you're going to be able to most likely focus better this month. Um, and that's going to give you a lot of new wisdom. So I love the crown. So the crown chakra is going to be opening 43, adds up to 7, which is tied to living from the heart energy. So beautiful, beautiful card. So watch for owls, for signs of owls this month. That's going to be a message for some of you when you see the owl that you're on the right track. Um, and then we've got for our ascended master, we have Isis energy, which is magic manifesting. It's a big, creative, magical month. So your dreams, visions, and goals are becoming a reality. Here we go. Stay focused. Let's do this. Wonderful, wonderful. Right in line with what we've been talking about here, the energy of focus and being able to plan what those plant the seeds and plan for the future and what you need to be working on now. And so for the element, this is such a beautiful card. I see a lot of magic here too in the energy, and it is about solitariness, so desert. So let's just look at the book here for that, because I think there's a couple things that are going to tie this together here. There's a difference between being alone or solitary and being lonely. Feeling confident to spend time alone is powerful. So this is again gaining that less distractions, more focus, alone time is needed. You do not need so much work on developing simplicity. There is more to life than accumulating objects. You can be resilient and adapt to difficult circumstances. So the word of power is the solitariness, and it's kind of separate. Being separate is a good can this is the goodness of being separate. So a desert is a seemingly lifeless biome attracting low precipitation. The plants and animals of desert regions are living in a very harsh and hostile environment and must be highly adapted to do so. About a third of all biomes on Earth are categorized as being arid or semi-arid, and this is growing. Temperature, evaporation rates, and humidity levels help to classify a desert. The Antarctic and Arctic environments are classified as cold deserts because of the extremely low temperatures that freeze all moisture as ice or snow. The top four deserts in area are the Antarctic, the Arctic, the Sahara, and the Arabian. So you've got both sides there. The thing you must notice in a desert is the simplicity of the landscape, the sparseness of plant life, the lack of ground cover, and the exposure of topsoil leading to sand. The dust or sand can be whipped up into epic sandstorms that can be so fierce the wind-blown sand particles become electrically charged and create enormous electrical fields that can produce sparks and interference with telecommunication. These electrical fields can have a negative effect on humans, causing nausea, vision disturbance, and headaches. Ooh, I think we have some things to look out for here. Many desert animals live underground or in highly protected places. Plants normally have smaller leaves or very few leaves and have shallow root systems to capture any precipitation that may fall. People who live in deserts have traditionally been nomadic, moving with their prey or where food may be. These people take only what they need and carry only what is necessary, but often have rich cultural and spiritual lives. So the other thing that I'm getting with the desert is the blank canvas where you will be creating all of these new ideas and visions. So sometimes you have to get rid of all of the other things out of the way. So you want, it's kind of a beginner's mind, right? Starting from a clean slate. And I see that about the desert. But I think with this energy and the electrical storms, I do have had some issues lately coming into this energy with headaches and things. So the energy is shifting, and it's big time energy. So let's see where we're at with the gateway of light activation, what we can expect in activating within us. And so what is going on is, again, we saw with the owl spirit the crown on the head of the owl. And the dove here, the dove which signifies peace, because doing things that are from the heart, that are our greatest passions, bring us the most peace. And the crown, there's going to be a crown chakra upgrade this month, divine connection, holy experiences, and more miraculous energy. This is just going to be a very magical month. So please be very optimistic and bring in the magic for you, to help you in your manifestations. So this is where it's at, and the cards are confirming. So we're going to look at what our mantra needs to be so that we can harness this energy appropriately. And I'm going to the Kahn deck, and we're going to pull celebrating simplicity. So it gets back to that practicality that we also were talking about. And like I said, having too many irons in the fire, or, too many distractions, because the mantra is, I am more fulfilled when there is less to manage and maintain. I am more fulfilled when there is less to manage and maintain. I am more fulfilled when there is less to manage and maintain. So that is our healing mantra for the month of June. And I will leave you with that. If you are interested in a soul contract reading and to find out more about, to find out more about yourself and what you came to do in this lifetime, I always put my information in the description box below. I also have a link to my short introductory video. And I also will put a link to generating a free soul contract chart if you want to see kind of where the numbers appear for you, and if you have a six and where that might be in your chart. If you don't have sixes in your chart, that's okay. That just means you are open to harnessing the energy of June. So that is why I'm doing these videos, to help you to know when there are good times to expand in certain activities, and being creative this month is where it's all about. So thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I will see you in the next video.